Good evening everyone and welcome to Gundam News. And the big thing that happened this week was of course the first episode of GQuuuuuX on Amazon Prime. And in case you haven't watched it yet, don't worry, I'm not going to give any spoilers in this video. What I will say is that I did very much enjoy it, especially when they reused the Psychomu and new type sound effects from the original series, so that was a really cool callback. And everything else was pretty cool as well. The music is great, I loved how they animated Machu, and the story also has a solid pace. Considering that it is going to be a short anime, it's good that they kept things moving along, but without making it like ridiculously fast like they did with Gundam Seed Freedom. And for the people who were turned off by the, let's call them quite funky mobile suit redesigns, I don't think that's really going to detract from your enjoyment of the series. Once everything starts moving, it feels very different from how the mobile suits look in the line art. My only complaint was with the subtitles. At one point, Machu says "kira kira," which should translate to something like glittery or sparkly, but instead, they just wrote "kira kira," which then gave me instant flashbacks to those Kisama Zeta Gundam dubs from the compilation movies. So yeah, while it is too soon to give a full review of the series and really say how I liked it, the first episode does at least make me hopeful for the rest of the series. And staying with GQuuuuuX, Mega House also announced that they'll be releasing a Machu pilot suit figure as part of a new figure line. But more details about the figure and this new line are yet to be announced. On the Gunpla front then, we've got some good news for the Gundam Age fans, ignoring the fact that it's going to be Premium Bandai Limited. In July, the high-grade Genoace O Custom will be releasing for 1,980 yen, 13 US. It is a remold of the Genoace 2 that will feature new shoulders, a new backpack, a new head with clear parts, a new left hand for more dynamic poses, and a new dots rifle, which also reminds me a lot of the beam rifle used by the Barzam. And it'll also still come with a shield and a beam saber with beam saber blade effect part. Over at the Gundam base then, they're currently having a promotion with JCB for a Premium Bandai credit card, proving that we are clearly living in the wrong world line. And on April 11th, they'll start carrying the high-grade RX-78-2 Gundam Earth colors, which was previously already available through events and Premium Bandai. It goes for 1,540 yen, 10 US, and features the high-grade RX-78-2 in a blue and green color scheme with new markings. And related to the Gunpla news then is the Premium Bandai Limited G-Frame Full Armor New Gundam Large Fin Funnel and Hyper Mega Bazooka Launcher equipment. And yeah, it's the typical G-Frame Premium Bandai fare. While we do get a quite substantial amount of accessories, it does retail for 4,950 yen, 34 US, which makes it pretty expensive for what it is. Because remember, these figures are slightly smaller than high grades, and their quality is also lower. As for the accessories then, we're getting a beam rifle, bazooka, shield, a standard active beam saber, a large active beam saber, a large inactive beam saber, the Hyper Mega Bazooka launcher, the large fin funnel in inactive mode, parts to turn the large fin funnel into active mode, parts to equip both the large fin funnel and the Hyper Mega Bazooka launcher to the arms, an action base that can be used for the new Gundam or that large fin funnel, and a soda-flavored piece of chewing gum. The only thing missing here are the standard fin funnels, which would have been a cool inclusion because you can actually use those with this figure if you attach the large fin funnel and the Hyper Mega Bazooka launcher to the arms. But alas, and this set can be yours in August. And what also got announced is a new line of Gachapon figures called Capsule Index. These are static, super deformed figures in action poses whose goal is to form an encyclopedia of mobile suits, but in Gachapon form instead of in book form. So it sounds like this is a line that they're going to be continuing for quite a while because, encyclopedias are known for being quite thick. As for now, they will go for 400 yen a spin, 3 US, and the first lineup consists of the Mighty Strike Freedom, the Cholera, the Zagok Freedom version, and the GQX with Omega Psychomu active. It's not set when they'll be hitting physical Gachapon machines, but they are currently up for pre-order on Bandai's Gachapon online service, and those will be shipping out in late July, so expect them to be releasing around that time as well. For the Gundam Wing fans then, I've got both some good news and some less good news. So why don't we immediately get the bad news out of the way? As part of Gundam Wing's 30th anniversary celebrations, Hatsune Miku will be performing Just Communication as part of a concert in the Metaverse. It's still alive and it's coming back for a 4th time between April the 20th and May the 19th. So we can enjoy it for almost an entire month. Isn't that nice of them? I had no idea what else to do with that time. So yeah, this will give you plenty of time to consume the seconds, if not minutes of enjoyment that the Metaverse has to offer. And you can no doubt tell how excited I am to jump into the Metaverse again to check out all of those new improvements they did to it. They claim that they improved the game based on feedback from the fans, but the only changes that I'm getting from the trailer is that the avatars have more costumes and that there's going to be a new Gundam statue. The avatars themselves, meanwhile, still look as horrible as they did from the beginning, so I really wonder which fan feedback they looked at. But yeah, you can expect a video on this a few days after the Metaverse goes live. As always, I will try to be as objective as possible, but this time in particular, I've got a really bad feeling about it. Again, it just looks the same as last time, and last time I got literally motion sick because of the frame rate issues and the latency that I was experiencing. So yeah, I can't wait to jump in again. And if you want to check out the trailer for yourself, I will have it linked down below. Better news then is that the Alpha Omega series Heero Yui and Relena Peacecraft will be getting a special 30th anniversary edition that will be releasing in late October for 36,300 yen, 247 US. The figures are inspired by their famous pose from the second opening, and they will now have more shading, making them feel more alive. And rather than being sold separately, they're now sold as a set. What has remained the same then is that Heero can be displayed either with or without his coat. Or if you prefer to smell Heero or Relena, then Primaniacs has you covered. They're a perfume brand that focuses on making anime character-inspired perfumes, and this time, it's Gundam Wing's turn. For 7,920 yen a piece, 54 US, we have Heero, a strong core fragrance that allows one to fight with hope as their only weapon. Duo, a light and cheerful fragrance for fighting alongside your partner. Troa, a quiet, mellow fragrance for fighting together with those emotions that are dear to you. Catra, a pure and gentle fragrance for fighting alongside your comrades that are scattered all over the planet and all over space. Wu Fei, a bittersweet yet straightforward fragrance that sharpens your senses for the fight against that one specific enemy. And Relena, a pure, beautiful fragrance that will never give up the hope for peace. They're currently up for pre-order online, and they'll also be available in the physical Primaniacs store on July the 3rd. We also got this new art featuring Rain, Relena, and Tifa, and it has become available as an acrylic art panel for 2,200 yen, 15 US, on the Animate online store and Movic, and it can already be yours on the 12th. On the 13th then, the Osaka World Expo will open up, and alongside it, the Gundam Next Future Pavilion. So to get us all hyped up for this, they released a new trailer, which I will have linked down below. And alongside of that, they also unveiled the big bad guy that will be appearing in the special movie shown at the Pavilion. The MSN X17 Zeong type mobile armor. They took the Zeong, added 4 arms to his back, a la Neo Zeong, added extra thrusters to the arms, and it also looks like they added an extra beam cannon on top of his head. So this thing definitely means business. And if you go to the expo, you might also want to consider stopping by Namba Park's cinema. Throughout the duration of the expo, they'll be playing Gundam movies with English subtitles. They already announced that the compilation movies of the original Gundam and Char's Counterattack will be part of the lineup, and more will be announced in the future. Tickets can be bought online 3 days beforehand. Another thing then that you might want to check out is the Gundam-based pop-up World Tour 2025, which will be setting up shop in Osaka from April 11th until October the 13th, which is of course when the World Expo will be closing. You'll be able to buy a variety of limited and non-limited goods there, but there is something to keep in mind if you're going. From April 11th to the 13th, and possibly at later dates too, you'll need to get a digital ticket from a service called Mogili using the Line app. This is all free, but something that you might want to prepare for beforehand, like downloading the Line app and creating an account for it. Meanwhile, on the gaming front then, in Gundam Battle Operation 2 for the PlayStation, the Heavy Gun has joined the fray, while on Steam the Zeta Gundam P2/3C has become available. In UC Engage there's an extremely limited unit assembly featuring the UR Victory 2 Assault Gundam and another UR Uso Ewin, and they're also celebrating Gym Day with special rewards for the dailies and a special operation. The Gundam card game then will be part of the Card Game Festival 2025 held on May the 3rd and the 4th in Tokyo Big Sight. Visitors will be able to use demo decks to play the game, and they can also participate in a Gundam Assemble painting session. In other news then, a new Sunrise World store will be opening up in Sendai on the 18th. The Designs Mamoru Nagano design exhibition has opened up in Fukuoka and will last until May the 4th. And on April the 11th, a special new project will be announced by Moriguchi Hiroko on her YouTube channel. It'll be a collaboration between her, Gundam, and then someone or something secret. As for the things you could get this week then, just today, you could get a bunch of RX-78 F00/E Gundam Gunpla. On the lower end, we've got the entry-grade RX-78 F00/E Gundam for 1,320 Yen, 9 US, which just comes with a shield, a beam rifle, 2 beam sabers, and some optional hands. So it really is just the standard RX F00 Gundam. To turn it into the /E then, we've got the entry-grade RX-78 F00/E Gundam optional part set X001 glass feather equipment, which goes for 1,100 Yen, 7 US. And as the name indicates, not only does this come with the extra armor to turn the F00 into the F00/E, but it also comes with the glass feather backpack and some other accessories, like another new backpack, a stored beam welding gun, and a deployed beam welding gun. More fancy then is the no-grade RX-78 F00/E Gundam with X001 glass feather equipped, going for 3,960 yen, 27 US. And despite being just a no-grade, it is actually on par with high grades. The accessories are the same as those of the entry grade, but they are all a bit more detailed and have more gimmicks. Like, for example, the sub-arms are movable and also significantly less hollow. For this week's reading material then, there was the May issue of Animedia, featuring GQuuuuuX Beginning, the May issue of New Type, which has a lot of things surrounding the GQuuuuuX anime, as well as a B2 poster, and we got the newest Oyoge 9 comic, where the main characters are talking about how the antenna, or in this case, they're calling it the horn, is used for commander-type machines, making it like the mark for a leader. And it then ends with one of the characters putting a horn on his head. For the apparel news then, to commemorate the first episode of GQuuuuuX, pre-orders on Bankore began for a variety of items featuring the main characters. You can get Machu, Nyan, Shuji, and Shalia as a tapestry for 3,300 yen, 22 US, a face towel for 2,200 yen, 15 US, a mini cushion for 2,530 yen, 17 US, or a room key style acrylic keychain for 990 yen, 7 US, all of which are slated for a June release. And if cosplay is more your thing, you can also get Machu's tie for 4,950 yen, 34 US, Nyan's tie for 5,500 yen, 37 US, and a restock of Nyan's earrings for 2,970 yen, 20 US. And as always, let's quickly wrap things up with the polls. 2 weeks ago, I wanted to know what your favorite Gunpla grade is. And the results haven't really changed since I covered it last week, so there's not too much to add anymore. High grades were the most popular grade with 40%, which is no doubt thanks to their combination of quality, affordability, and also availability. Like, there's just so many different high grades out there. But master grades remained a close second with 37%, and for good reason. They come with some serious quality while still remaining affordable, and they also have a relatively big variety in them. Third place then goes to real grades with 20%, and I can unfortunately see why they would be lower. They're essentially scaled down master grades that cram a lot of things into a small package, but unfortunately, this has not always been without issues. Especially the early real grades are infamous for being extremely fragile and flimsy, and even the later ones are not always without their flaws. In fact, the most recent one had a pretty big design flaw. And then all the way in last place, we have the perfect grades with only 3%. Despite being the most impressive grade, it did rank pretty low, and while I can see why it's not the most popular grade, I would have expected it to at least get a few more percentages. But I guess this is like partially due to their higher price tag and partially due to just like the limited amount of perfect grade kits that are available. And on top of that, there's also less variety in them because with only very few exceptions, it's all just main Gundams that get a perfect grade. As for the currently ongoing poll then, with the Gundam Wing 30th anniversary celebrations in full swing, I wanted to know what the best Gundam Wing grunt is. The iconic Leo, the sleek Taurus, the mighty Virgo, or the invincible Magwanok. I would have liked to add the Ares, but I unfortunately had to narrow it down to 4 options. Although on second thought, maybe I should have replaced the Leo with the Ares and then changed the question to, what is your second favorite Gundam Wing grunt mobile suit? Because the Leo currently has over half of the vote, completely dominating all of the other options. The fight for second place, on the other hand, is still pretty fierce. The Virgo only has a slight lead over the Taurus, and the Mogwinock is also hanging in there, so it is still anyone's race. So if you want to cast your vote, I will of course have the link down below. And that has been all for this week's Gundam news. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great evening, and I'll see you all next week with more Gundam news.